Fred. Fred, we came to realize that also Fred is Brazilian. Like Fred.
Yeah, there was a time guys were thinking he was South Sudanese.
Exactly. Like his touch. Like
Let's move over to the awards of the season. Player of the season, Man United.
Rashford.
Rashi.
Context.
Rashi was
kuna saa ametubeba.
after World Cup, Rashi was actually considered one of the best attackers in Europe.
Yeah, I think there was at some point in the season he had more goals than Haaland from World Cup till,
Exactly.
I think around April.
I think his only problem is it's good to know your strength and your weakness. I feel like he should just stay on the left.
Yeah.
You're getting the best out of him on his left, on the left.
Casemiro.
Oof.
Casemiro, you see there's Rashford, there's Casemiro, there's Licha. But can we put Casemiro and Licha in signings of the season?
For you, player of the season, Rashford.
Rashi, anytime, any day.
Young player of the season.
Hey, Alejandro Garnacho. That's not even a question.
For you?
Garnacho.
Okay. Most improved player?
Most improved.
It's a tie between Fred and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. No, Rashford, you see, Rashford is a star.
No, may think it's Fred. Fred, we came to realize that also Fred is Brazilian. Like Fred.
Yeah, there was a time guys were thinking he was South Sudanese.
Exactly. Like his touch.
It's okay, I apologize, but where guys
It's a wrap.
But with that height though,
Yeah, he's one of those ones. You know, they're short Masais. Fred was one of the short South Sudanese.
So for you it's Fred and?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Okay. Mm-hmm. For you?
Freddy.
Okay. Most disappointing player this season?
Sancho, for me. Although he stepped out at the end of the season, but I expected more. He has more, that I know for sure. And if he doesn't play, we might get other signings that might get a better starting.
I think we've tried everything this season to improve Sancho.
Yeah.
But
we've played him on the left, on the right.
We've taken him for therapy, for God's sake.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So for me, he's my most disappointing player. For me.
Maybe you should have listened to Americ's. Men don't need therapy.
There's nothing Americ says that's true.
How about you, Nicolette?
I would say Sancho, but I would also sort of say Eriksen, because Eriksen is a very creative player. He's very creative, but I don't feel like he's brought enough of that creativity to United. If you look at him at Spurs, you look at him at Inter, he hasn't brought that Eriksen that way, even in his national team.
Do you think the injury affected that situation?
I don't think so. You know why, eh? It's Blind who is also playing with a pacemaker, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It hasn't affected his game.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Signing of the season?
Obviously.
That's a tie between Casemiro and Licha.
Mine is not a tie. Mine is Casemiro.
I think it's a tie between the two of them because they are very crucial players.
True. That's true.
But you see, with Casemiro, he's a star quality player, so you sort of expect him to be good. But with Licha, we didn't know what to expect.
You see, there's also that pressure of expecting somebody to be good, especially if you come from a team like Real Madrid. Nobody expects less from you, so there's more pressure on Casemiro. So for him to uphold that is not easy.
But I think there was also a lot of pressure on Licha coming from Ajax, the height he was. Everyone doubted him. Everyone doubted him. Yes.
True.
Yeah, and even for Casemiro, guys were saying he's 30.
I even remember
he's come for Man United to get a paycheck.
But honestly speaking, for me, when I look at modern football, that is no longer old.
Yeah.
Because if you look at players these days, we don't have those star players, those kid star players. We're not seeing them anymore.
True.
We're seeing players game beginning to peak at 28. Mm-hmm. So by 30, you're prime. Yeah, we're not seeing young players that are good anymore. Yeah.
Game of the season?
When we beat Arsenal at home, because no one had beaten Arsenal, we were the first team to beat Arsenal.
Also Man City, second leg.
Yeah.
Because nobody was expecting us to beat City. After they did us, 6-3. Yeah. So I think I came to see Ten Hag is also a good in planning. Like he can be also a tactician.
Because he watches the mistakes.
Exactly. So that's when I was able to. In fact, the City game versus United, the second leg, is when I was able to give now Ten Hag the proper credit. I was like, now this is our guy. Yeah. Most disappointing game.
No, finish.
But I can say in terms of European football, we really need to work on beating Spanish teams, because the 2 losses that we got were against Spanish teams in the beginning and at the end of the season. And that's something which I don't think it was something that we could have.
But we tried against Spanish teams, I think.
We were given Spanish teams throughout the...
Yeah, we were given so many Spanish teams throughout the season. Yeah.
Most disappointing game?
Arsenal return leg.
I know there's the Brentford one 4-0. There's
Liverpool.
the Liverpool 7.
Brighton 2-0. First game
Brighton
of the
2. Newcastle.
No, but we started the season really bad, so I'll forgive our first games of the season.
Brighton 1-0 and West Ham 1-0.
The reason why I would say Arsenal return leg and probably Liverpool is because we had already beaten Arsenal. We were the only team that beat Arsenal when no one was able to beat them. How are we unable to maintain that? We could have at least even drawn. It would have been a draw tungekuwa sawa. But that was painful to watch.
The Liverpool one was more painful.
But I feel like we always do that every season. Liverpool have to have this massive beating against Manchester United. And then they never get anything after that. So
I think it's only Van Gaal who never lost against Liverpool.
Yeah, it'll be a tie between City and when we beat Arsenal, because no one had beaten Arsenal.
You have to choose one.
Why? Because you see, with Man City, I feel like we beat them at a time where they were a bit shaky. But with Arsenal, we beat them when they were at prime. No one had beaten them.
True.
So I'll do.
It was 3-2. Was it 3-2?
The question was most disappointing.
Oh, most disappointing.
Most disappointing.
Oh. Let me think of the game which I had more banters that week. That was the most disappointing.
Arsenal, definitely.
It was the Arsenal one.
It was Liverpool.
But you see, like I'm telling you, we always do that every season. There was the 5-0. There was the 7-0. We always have that thing with Liverpool.
A 7 is so many balls.
But anyway, next season, your predictions. Where do we finish? Which trophies?
You know, the only problem why this is very hard to predict is the fact...
you're a good...
I'm good at that.
Prophetess.
Yes, I'm good at that. But the only reason why this one is extremely hard is because we don't know who's going to buy United. Because there's a lot of rumors that apparently if Radcliffe comes in, he will not want to work with Ten Hag. You know, like there's a lot of... Yeah. And if we remove Ten Hag,
currently,
then...
With the current situation?
It's still very hard to call. I'll still put us in the top 4. But like everything boils down to who's going to buy the club. That really matters with United next season.
I really hope Qataris take over, honestly.
Okay. Do we stand a chance of winning any trophy? Currently,
if we're able to maintain like health of certain players, I do think we do stand a chance, because like Vic said, I feel like Ten Hag always looks at where the problem is and fixes it in the next game, which is a good thing for him. Yeah. So I still do feel like we can win trophies next season. We can finish in the top 4, but that also will always boil down to who's by that club.
True.
Predictions, Vic?
We might have a hot finish or a cold finish.
That's not a prediction.
No. Let me land. So what I'm saying is, we might have a hot finish in the sense that we might have like 1 trophy at the end of the season.
Which one?
I'm sure we'll have a FA. Or we might have an Arsenal season, whereby our hopes will get up and we won't have anything. We'll smell it, we may touch it, but we won't get it.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
Okay.
But it all boils down to what Nicolette says. It depends with who will come and support United. Financially, also come and like I usually see I saw the documentary for, was it Arsenal, All or Nothing. It's not about financial support. Also, those the owners, they come to the pitch, they see them training with the players, you see them talking to Kinasaka, they motivate them. So we need also somebody who's close to the players, somebody who's not so far from the players, somebody who knows about the team, who knows about football, not somebody who just comes for the capital perspective. So I think we need an owner who looks at all, who will come and fill in all those gaps, all those areas. Because look at Carrington, our training stadium, it's there. Ronaldo said it's rotten.
Radcliffe.
The only reason, like the pros to Radcliffe, is that the element of how he's trying to improve sports scientifically. Yeah. You get, so we know, of course, our academy players would start, like our training facility would be state of the art. Like he will nurture the sports side of Manchester United that has been forgotten, basically. True. My only problem is the fact that it doesn't want full ownership. The Glazers will still be involved in a lot of decision making. That's the downside.
Is it more than half? more than 50.
It's more than 50, but then you see...
Still, the Glazers are expected
Yeah,
to
and then
be
you
there.
see with the Qataris, they're willing to absorb the debt.
Yeah.
Wild thought. With Ineos coming in. After that Brentford game, it was rumored that Ten Hag actually made the players run for 12 kilometers. That's, I think, the kilometers Brentford ran that game. Would you like to see Kipchoge as maybe physical
Coming
trainer?
there, talking to the players, giving them morale. Of course we would. As Kenyans, would love to see that. But I don't know. There's a part of me that I feel like the Glazers are just taking both this Radcliffe and the Qataris for a ride.